So I have been reading this book, and I just started it, but it's quite fascinating. It talks about so much more than what the title says. Look at these different sections. All the things you wouldn't want to talk about, basically. You know, God forbid, those are the things that we're talking about here. So sometimes glamorizing everything and Hollywoodizing everything and making it fantasy and not real life, sometimes talking about the things actually that no one will talk about is what intrigues a viewer or draws someone in. So maybe it could work, Hollywood. I don't know, just something to think about. And it talks about I was reading this one specific article about poop, believe it or not, how they pooped. And they pooped into buckets, basically, if you're poor. And if you weren't poor, then what they did was this, basically, and they put these things over it, and they called it a combination closet, and they try to make things easier. Well, if you see the things that the women wear, you know that they wear things like this. You might be thinking, how on earth can they use the restroom then in that situation? Well, okay, and why, you might be thinking, why did you want to read this book? What on earth made you? Okay, well, I took a costume, I'm a former theater major, and I took an intro to costume course when I went to school that was required, and I found it so fascinating, and they reviewed a lot of different time periods quickly, and one of the things that they did, actually, was that they talked about the Victorian time period, and they talked about how women's underwear had nothing underneath. If you look at it, that part was cut open. And my first thought was, what does a woman do when she's on her period? So of course, when I heard about this book, I had to buy it because I wanted to know. And this book will tell you exactly what a woman does. And now it's like, oh, it's not even interesting anymore now that I know the answer, unfortunately. But it's very interesting if you want to find out the answer. Great book if you want to find out the answer. Also, my costume history teacher, her explanation for the reason that there were holes in their underwear back then was, she said, easy access for the men, and she claimed something else which I can't remember, and we all thought it was dumb. At least I thought it was dumb or silly. I don't know if anyone else did. Or I think I talked to somebody else about that, and they're like, no, that can't be, or something. But actually, I think that was a different thing that I am associating with that thing about how women's legs didn't really come up together. Oh, God forbid. I think that's actually what that one was about, and that might have been a different time period, so never mind on that one. But long story short is we all thought, what? That the reason these are open is for easy access? Come on, no. I mean, that's just, that was her explanation. Well, I think I figured it out. So no one's told me, but I'm pretty sure I know why the underwear was cut open like that. You saw what the woman wore, right? Well, how on earth can you dump your bowels into buckets when you have this huge dress? You really gonna pull all that dress up while you're using the restroom? That sounds so difficult. So it makes more sense that it's open. Like you're gonna pull something down plus pull these things up? That's what I mean. How is that going to work, especially with what you saw they were pooping in? Like, how can you pull stuff down and then, that would get in the way when you're sitting on the toilet, because you're going to sit on the toilet backwards, if I'm mistaken, when you're wearing long crinoline dresses like that. So basically, I think that's why there's holes in their underwear, so that they can poop and pee. I'm going to be perfectly honest to you, and guess what? The costume teacher didn't tell me that. I figured it out on my own. I'm feeling smart today. So if you want to read the book, it's an awesome book. Totally check it out if you want to learn more. They even make references to what they did, and at one point, what they did in the medieval time period with poop. Why am I fascinated by this? I have no idea. Maybe I'm perverted. But you should check the book out, and it talks obviously a lot more about poop and menstrual periods, So it talks about a lot more than just that. So if you want to figure out the Victorian way of life, you totally should. And by the way, where is the medieval version of this or the Renaissance time period version of this book because I want it. I want it so bad. Let me know if you know a book like this because I totally want to check it out. It may not be written in the way she's written it though. She writes very cleverly in a way that kind of like she talks about transporting you. So we'll just have to see. But still, if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Thank you so much for viewing my video and have a wonderful day.